Yes. Oh yeah. No, I think things like market research and competitive intelligence. So in a world where companies are pivoting really hard or new companies are popping up every single day and there's like noise from a market perspective, if you can automate the pulling of competitive intelligence or market research. So for me specifically, I have automated agents that will go out, collect the information, basically put it into Slack every week. So here's what happened. Here's why it matters for treasury data.
Welcome back to Back on Track. I'm Carrie Gard. We are here to stop the random acts of marketing and help founders and lean teams climb out of the growth valley. Today, we are talking about the elephant in the room, AI. But we're not talking about the shiny silver bullet version. We're talking about how to actually use it to drive positioning and, more importantly, how to measure if your messaging is actually working. Joining me is Michele Nieberding, a product marketing pro who isn't afraid to tell a founder the truth even when it hurts. Michele, welcome to the show.
Lovely intro. Yeah, I know. It's taken a while for me to get there, but here we are. So thank you so much for having me.
So excited to have you. Before we dive in, I did promise our audience that we're going to play a little game thanks to your inspiration. Michele has a love for cakes, and one of her favorite shows, and one of my favorite shows, is It Cake? I hope you all have seen it. It's wonderful. Me and my son watch it, and we love guessing. You got to guess of whether it's cake or not. Which one is the cake? And so actually, we're going to play our own version called Is It AI? And we want you all to play along. I'm talking a lot and buying myself time because I want to make sure there's people with us today. If you are here with us, comment, say hello, let us know we're here. I can't wait for you to play this little game with us of Is It AI? If you are not catching the show live, that is A-okay. Join us asynchronously and still guess along, and we will comment and follow up with you because we want to know what you thought. I actually had help with this. My little 10-year-old joined on in to help me find the right pictures. She was very clear on what was going to work and not work, and a little upset that I didn't ask her to do it for me earlier. She's like, Mom, if I had just Canva, I would have knocked this out for you. I was like, you know what? You totally would have, and I should have joined. I know. So it's not as fancy as what my daughter would have put together, but it is going to be fun. All right.
I love that 10-year-olds are just like, yeah, just give me Canva. Or I know they probably play this game better than I can. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, she's a little Canva whiz, little creator over there. And my son loves watching Is It Cake with me. So this is great. I got to bond with both of my children over this. So thank you for that. All right. I'm just being my own producer over here. I lost my producer. He went back to school. Oh, we got Hannah Pickering. All right, Hannah. You ready? Is it AI?
Heck yeah.
All right, first one. You're just going to do A or B. So A is on the left and B is on the right. I didn't label them. And then I'm going to try and remember which ones you said. It's going to be great.
Okay.
I know which ones are AI. All right, ready?
No.
You ready, Michele?
Oh my God, the pressure's on. Okay.
Here we go. All right. A or B? Which one's AI?
Gonna go with A.
Okay.
Ooh, oh no, because it's cake. Oh no. Let's do B. Oh gosh. B. Ooh, they've gotten better. Oh wait. Oh no, I'm counting the fingers. B. Oh.
All right, that is the end of the slideshow. All right, folks.
Kathy had it, I think.
To the beginning. Oh, Kathy, I see you. All right,
know, right?
You guessed A. And it is A.
Yes.
You guessed B.
Uh-huh.
It's A.
Oh no!
I know they got the celebrate down.
Oh yeah, I was like,
I should have tested different AIs. Yeah, and it's not smudged or anything. It like looks like a word.
All right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was actually ice.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Nana Banana.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh,
you were correct that this one's AI, which I'm surprised about because they really nailed the dolls on that one. Like they are Barbie dolls.
there's something about, I don't know, like the scanners. I don't know. Something else got me on that one. I was like, I feel like A here is like you can see, like it's a picture my mom would have, I feel. I don't know.
True. We were thinking her face was a little bit felt a bit doll like. So we were
Fair.
hoping that would fool people, but it did not. It did
Not
not.
the cake did.
And
Oh,
then
I
and
don't know
this
about
one
this.
you're correct. Yeah. This one is AI, the one on the right with the
Yeah.
you were correct on
I
B
think
there.
Kathy had that
But
one
that
too.
she
'Cause I'm
did.
like,
She did.
I think yeah.
I think it's cuz they're too smooth where you can actually see texture and veins. But hey, AI has definitely come a long way cuz they have all the fingers there and they're not intertwined in a weird way.
Yeah, it's got me. I'm like, although the one, what does it look like? The index finger on B looks like extra long. I don't know. Something got me on the one little finger
Maybe.
under. I don't know.
Mhm.
Suspect.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
I
that was
can't believe
super
it's
fun.
wrong. I'm like, wow. Disappointing.
I knew the celebrate was going to throw people off, so
Got
yeah,
me. Got
I was
me.
banking
But
on that
not
one. I had
bad.
got all the other ones. You
Yeah,
got
I'm
three
like,
out of
I'm not
four.
not
Same
mad
person.
about that.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one. Amazing. All right, folks, we're going to dive on in here. Michelle, you've worked with founders who wanted marketing to test messaging to find out what kind of company they should be. In your
Mhm.
strategy spreadsheet, what are the 3 non-negotiable data points you need from the founders before a single test is run?
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many. When we're talking founders, kind of like you said, there's so many thoughts that go through their heads and my heads, right? My heads. Now I'm AI. But it's hard to have a conversation. I've not, it was very surprising. It was my first startup. I'll start with that. And I'd never been in a position where it was like marketing needs to test kind of different avenues or identities as a company to then inform like the full product roadmap and like where we double down in. It's not a bad idea. And honestly, looking back, I'm like, it's such a compliment that they would trust product marketing to have that conversation, right? But when we're talking, okay, data points for them, what I wish I had done looking back, I think two things. One, what does success look like to them? So if I'm there's a million ways to like test this, right? If you say, you do an A/B test on an email, or you have webinar topics and some people come to one versus like there's some ways to test this. But what does that look like, success look like to the founder? Is it opportunities created? Is it like pipeline generated specifically? Is it
Yeah.
certain brands that we're trying to target? Like redefining what success looks like for them and being really, really clear is so helpful for everything else you're doing. So let's talk about like the world of AI right now. Like every company is AI or they're rebranding as AI. There was this crazy statistic, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, of companies that have just changed their domain name to whatever .ai from,
Mm-hmm.
insert company name.com. And the traffic exploded just by putting .ai. Now, those domains are expensive as they should be. So random pro tip, if you want to go buy some company.ai
Yeah.
domains, you can make a lot of money. I shouldn't say that, but anyway, random fact. But just that alone, and then how do you, especially with all of these AI companies that are, founder led, like how do you make sure that you have the right, like you said, data points or things to consider as you're positioning in the sea of AI tools? I mean, I can make an AI tool now, right? Like it's so
It's wild.
common, it's
Mm-hmm.
exploding. So again, like back to like the core product marketing, this is why we're still necessary in the world of AI is who who are you really targeting? What pain points are you truly solving with this tool? And what does success look like? Is it, people signing up to try the tool? Is it people moving through the funnel? Is it the actual product adoption? I think something that we don't look at enough is actual usage of a product, or is there somewhere that people are getting stuck, or is there, a barrier to entry where something's too complicated or too confusing to get people to the next step of using the tool? There's all these things to consider. But if we go back to
Mm-hmm.
that first startup company, I did develop a plan for like, here's 3 routes and 3 things to try and tactics underneath that, and reviewed that with the founders before I did anything else, because there were very, very different routes to take. And so you look at the competitive environment and like niche areas of opportunity, like a lot that we can look at. Now, this was interesting because I was doing this kind of as ChatGPT just started coming up. So it was like very manual to do some of this research. And now it's like, you throw it into
Oh my
Claude or
gosh,
whatever.
so
Like
fast.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious, like if like one, what tool is your favorite? And two, like have you come across founders that like, I mean, we've mentioned this, right? You've had to push back
Mhm.
too. Like how do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, not easily. I
Yeah.
mean, so I've completely switched out of ChatGPT and into Gemini. So I'm
Ooh,
complete
Gemini.
convert that way.
Okay.
I think Gemini's output is just significantly better. I think its
Yeah.
ability to research is by far better, obviously, because it's sitting on top of Google's algorithms. I can't compare it to Claude because I haven't used Claude enough. Um, in some cases, I was actually arguing with Gemini earlier today because I don't think it codes as well as Claude.
Yeah.
So I use Cursor for all of my coding and I ran out of credits and I was like, oh, I don't want to pay for another thing. And so I was using Gemini and I was like, oh gosh, maybe I need to pay for another thing because this is so painful. So I think each one sort of has its own thing that it's
Personality.
good at. Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I feel like you can know which one, like, you can sort of tell which one produced the thing if you're
Yes.
not really doing your due diligence of making sure that it has your own content behind it. And
Yeah.
I think positioning and messaging is great to do in AI because then it feeds everything else. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, and in terms of pushing back on founders of being really, they hire you to tell them the thing, right? So if you can align to their priorities, I love that. I love what you said. It's so true. If you can align to their priorities, then when you have to say the hard thing, as long as you say the hard thing aligned to their priorities, they can't argue. So
Yeah.
like I just had a client who was like, I just want to boost all my LinkedIn content. And I was like, but
Hmm.
your is your LinkedIn content getting you the leads at, from an organic standpoint?
Right.
And the engagement you're looking for today, like it's good to boost, but you need to know like that you need those leading indicators that you're on the right track. And he's like, well, no. And I was like, so doing the positioning and messaging first to ensure that all your content is coming back to the thing that you do better than anybody else is probably the great first step to make sure that when you
Yeah.
boost the content, it's gonna land. And he was like, yeah, probably. Right. Like,
They just want the clicks. They want the analytic, that little
they
nice little trick.
do.
It's like,
They do. They just want to throw money at the problem. And it's like,
hmm.
wait a second. Hold up.
And this is
Sorry. Let's not burn your
that's
runway.
yeah, right. It's so I think maybe two things to go off of that. One is like, um, I mean, we've talked about this before, but customer like conversations and using the words that customers are using to go back to the founder and say, okay, here's the hypothesis. You think we need to be known as this type of company, whatever. But here's how customers are describing our tool or what they like
So
about it versus
important.
other tools, like you said,
Mhm.
ChatGPT versus Gemini. Like there's very distinct use cases or things that they will say that you can come back with. And AI obviously is very good with synthesis and like taking all these calls and conversations and saying, here's the key points that all of your customers are saying that like if you
So
disagree with
critical.
me, go talk to them, right? I mean, like it's not my words. And what I think is interesting where we're getting to after this is that's becoming even more important. So you see any website with products, right? I don't know. I was just on Nordstrom doing shopping that I shouldn't be doing. But you look at the product descriptions. I know, like, don't tell my husband. But you look at like the descriptions of the products, and I mean, this could be anything. And what LLMs are ranking now is if that product description is using words that customers use in like their reviews, for example. So Target's a really good example. A lot of really good customer reviews. If you can take those words and integrate that into your product descriptions, the
Mhm.
LLMs are going to rank those pages or those products better than others because you're using the actual voice. So I'm kind of like, this is a cool aha moment in AI because like AI sees the importance of this. Founders should too, right? It's an
Yes.
interesting movement in that way. So
Yeah. And they with the shiny object, they want to show up in LLMs. So I got to tell a really great, I got to tell a client a fun story because I love working with this client because he is all about like, he gets it,
yeah.
right? He gets the brand building side of it. He gets the importance of the full channel optimization. I know know the dream. And so I was really skeptical. I was actually really skeptical. He's like, we need to do social media and I need to do videos and I'm going to hire this company and they're going to do all these videos of me and we're going to get them up on social. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, like we'll try it, see how it goes. I don't know if that's, really what your audience needs, but we don't know until we try.
Yeah.
Because he goes after an older generation. And so what I found, I was like, oh, I'm going to eat my words here. What I found was that from Sem Rush was telling me from an AI visibility standpoint that what people were searching for was their name plus reviews.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I would say those videos are working because people know who you are and they're asking for reviews about the company.
Love.
And now
That's
that's showing
huge.
up. I know. I
Huh.
was like, this is amazing, right? And the engagement's really low, and he was really frustrated by that. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I don't care as long if people are watching the videos and the right people are watching the videos to then go search about your brand. We're doing something right.
Huge. Huge.
Yeah,
But see, like
so cool.
this is where experimentation, I do think, pays off. I think video, obviously, content's becoming really important. To have that data point specifically to know that something is working and you're not just like sending stuff out straight into the void is huge. And like, I think people, I don't know, the world of TikTok, right? Like people, the buying experience has changed where you want those little like nuggets of information. If I see a beauty influencer on TikTok, I've gotten really into like Korean skincare. I'll go to that and I'll go look at their Instagram and I'll go look at YouTube. Like you have all these other, touch points, but be able to tie that
Yeah.
together, like where are people going to next? And like that funnel situation is sometimes really hard to track. So to know that next step is reviews, I mean, that's huge.
So cool. Yeah.
What a,
So I love
and
what
like
you're
ranking
saying in
up.
terms of yeah, it's it's pretty cool to see that come through. Let's talk about AI readiness. You talk about getting teams AI ready. What is the first internal process a lean marketing team should automate with AI to actually save time rather than just adding more noise to their plates?
Yeah. I'd be curious to see in the comments for anyone that's live, like what you think this maybe use case would be. The cop out, right, is it depends. Like every organization is different and like their needs and what they're doing. Like,
Of course, but in your
of course.
experience,
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I think things like market research and competitive intelligence. So in a world where companies are pivoting really hard or new companies are popping up every single day and there's like noise from a market perspective, if you can automate the pulling of competitive intelligence or market research. So for me specifically, I have automated agents that will go out, collect the information, basically put it into Slack every week. So here's what happened. Here's why it matters for
oh,
treasury data.
nice.
It's really, I mean, we as if people are asking where to build agents, if it integrates with Slack, to me that's like such a win. Or I mean, APIs are getting much easier, thank God, but that's like my holy grail. But back to like things to automate. I mean, I used to use like Google alerts, like things that just or
Mhm.
email updates that no, like I want executives to see this. I want salespeople to see this without me having to bring it to the table because it used to be such a manual process to find this, to put it in doc and then keep it up to date. I
Super
mean,
me.
competitive stuff happens every single day, and there are tools, obviously, Clue, Cran, whatever, that can do these things, but you can just automate that workflow with an agent to consistently have updates to tell sales. Like you don't know where every sales rep is in a deal cycle or what competitors are up against in real time or what nuggets of information can help close that deal. So with these automated Slack messages, I've had salespeople reach out and be like, oh my gosh, we're in the final two with this person. This nugget of information really helped, continue the process. Things like that has been
Amazing.
really, really good. So my general advice is like find a very specific use case that like what takes up most of your time or what do you really hate to do. Like I am not a competitive intelligence person by nature. I mean, I can do it, but I don't
Mhm.
love it personally. So finding ways to then automate that process again with those two things in mind really helps.
Mine, yeah, I think for me, I do the positioning and messaging stuff using AI because I like to then build gems and have that be my backbone. So, like,
Yes.
I have a marketing strategist gem that's built around each client's positioning and messaging. So for every single
Ooh,
client, I have a marketing strategist gem.
I love
So whenever I'm writing messaging, and then I also have it if it's founder led, then I have another one that's like in the founder's voice, and I'll have them like check each other. Like I'll have like the founder write it, but then I'll say, is this on brand? And like what's missing. So that's fun.
Cool.
Um, yeah, I really love it from that standpoint, like because I can't always get a hold of the founders, and one of my
Yeah.
clients travels a ton, so like being able to sort of fact check against is pretty cool.
I know
I also
every
love it to
founder.
code. I did say I was arguing with Gemini earlier, and I probably need to switch. I probably need to like actually buy Cursor, because it's so good. Like I, to be able to just say, um, you know, here's the code and here's the messaging. Can you merge these two, please? It's just an update the code to make sure it's on brand
Yeah.
is just it's so fast. Or if I need to
Cool.
update things, so like there's just things I wasn't able to do before because I'm not a true coder. I'm more
Yes.
front end HTML, CSS, and so
Yeah.
like I I was like I want this landing page to only have blog posts on it about this topic.
Mm.
And so it
Yes.
coded the component to then just pull in the blog posts that had any keywords related to that topic.
Oh my
So, and then I
gosh.
just copied and pasted that on every page and changed the keyword. And so now the blog posts are aligned to the landing page. So
That's
just things, little
amazing.
things like that, whereas I couldn't do it before by myself, and I have to bring in an engineer. I can like just knock these little things out that make such a difference.
And that, again, I
I love
mean,
it.
talk about so manual. And if other like trending keywords comes up, that's such a perfect way that you don't have to like go search or change anything. You're just like syndicating those pieces that have that topic in mind. And that's like perfect. And back to I mean, gems for like founder posts. I I've worked with so many or talked to so many founders that are just so, they don't want to say the wrong thing. Like they just, want someone to double check their, which is, as a founder, I'm sure you
Yeah,
take a lot of pride. You want to say the right things, like you said, say things that land, and to have something that can check with the brand kind of guidelines, but also be, a good first pass is that's huge to say, here, founder, like here's, say this or schedule it, whatever, and they can tweak
yeah,
it, in their own way, fine. But that's, I mean, that's becoming such a important piece of the process, like buying process, is to see founders really being involved. And so what a cool,
yeah.
I will say Gemini gems for building agents is very satisfying. Like I have enjoyed Gemini for agent building. I haven't, but now I've
Yeah.
like gone down the rabbit hole of Claude. I'm like, I just need to pick one and go all in because it's just
It's
too
so
much context.
hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah, to then switch between the contexts. It's so hard. Claude is like definitely got some really great aspects to it that keep enticing me to go try it out. But I'm like, I just know I'm gonna try it out, and then I'm gonna have to jump ship again.
I know.
We're talking about tool stack. So you've tested a million tools. If a founder gives you $500 a month for budget, specifically for AI, and maybe that's too low, and you can tell me if there's a better budget. But which two tools are you buying first, and why?
Yeah. So I would back to like the pro whatever of the LLM that you choose is definitely
Um,
number one. I do kind of back, I guess I would say, yeah, the battle right now is Gemini and Claude. I've been going deep down into Claude because they've had things like Claude Skills, Claude Code, Claude Cowork. So I would say they're doing a very good job innovating quickly in ways that are really compelling for how we need to work. Now, if like Claude, Cursor, and N8N or Naden, whatever people call it, if they could like bring that together, I think that would be huge. So that's one, is like do the pro or enterprise version of like the LLM of your choice. The second one I really love is Lovable. I think everyone knows I have like an obsession with Lovable. I turn everything into like a Lovable interactive something at this point. Things like roadmaps, playbooks, like verticalized playbooks for sales. I mean, like any kind of landing page you can imagine, truly anything. I make it interactive, active. I do it in Lovable. Like I'm obsessed. So that's number
I haven't tried
two.
that one.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to play it. Will like blow your mind. It's just, or even if you want like a tracker for a founder to make sure he's posting, once a week, and he can like check it out. Like or it has every post and
Oh
he
my
can,
gosh.
it's so fun. But
Oh, I
there's
should
so many
totally
use
do that. I need
cases
my
for
founders
it.
to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We can brainstorm, because it's like I just
Yeah, yeah.
did one for like, here, take your resume, throw it into Lovable, and say, hey, make an interactive landing page for my personal brand to send to like a recruiter or something like that. Like there's just really fun use cases and it looks amazing. It's easy to edit, all those things. And I think it's giving people a new way to like be creative in how they show information. It can do decks and it can do kind of the standard stuff that you may need. Even so, there's like a million other tools that can do decks, right? But if you can do it all in Lovable, that's kind of nice. So that's number 2. Number 3, I've really loved Glean. So the reason I like Glean is it takes like all of your internal information. So Google Drive, email, Confluence, Jira tickets, Slack channel information, and you can search it just like you would ChatGPT, but it's all internal and then it's not shared with like broader LLMs, right? So if someone shares a ChatGPT message, it's not going to like show up in Google basically, right? Sure. But what's really cool about Glean is they now have templates for agents. So like we built an agent for SDR outreach or RFP responses or things like that. So they actually have templates. If you've never built an agent before, or you're like not quite sure where to start, it'll give you the outline of the template for that agent. And then you can fill in, your data sources and your links and everything it needs to do to build that. So it's kind of like a fun, it's like training, wheels on a bicycle. Like it'll get you interested in how it actually works. But the other cool thing about that is we use it internally for across the board. So like product marketing may build an agent, CS might have one, sales, every team can build their own agents. Everyone can use it. And again, that it's pulling from all of these internal resources that you don't have to necessarily link, or that wouldn't, like that one hidden Slack message where you had a really good customer story or really good competitor nugget, something like that. It will pull in to any responses that questions that you ask it. So that would probably be number 3. And then that easily, go over $500, but that'll get you started.
That'll get you started. Okay. What I love about all 3 examples, which I think is so important as we talk about AI, and we've been saying it, but we haven't really called it out. So I'm going to be annoying. What's so important about everything you've been saying and about even the tools you're talking about is that the data you feed it and how it's everything you've mentioned has been proprietary. You've other than doing your research around competitors, everything else has been about what you're building internally and how you feed that into the LLMs, into Glean, into Lovable to then create the thing. And I think that's where the AI slop and the real ingenuity sort of rubber meets the road, right? Mm-hmm. So I just want to call that out because that is really the difference of like what makes AI so awesome. But you got to give it what do they say? It's like garbage in, garbage out, right?
Oh yeah. So it's more true. Here's like you said, I've tried a lot of tools, and I think to your point, there's some very cool UIs out there, some very cool experiences of like, someone's built AI wrapper feels so like kind of cringe now, but like, a really cool UI on top of a ChatGPT, for example. So it's basically an integration with a better UI that you can, have some preset use cases and preset agents that you're interacting with. At the end of the day, anyone using that tool is really using the same underlying models. Like those models that these solutions are built on top of are total commodities. You're going to ask a question about your company, someone else is going to ask a question about their company. It could give you very similar or same answers. Like you're all going to use the same stuff. You're building a marketing campaign, you're trying to talk about messaging and positioning, and it's all kind of going to merge into each other because you're using the same models or potentially the same underlying data. So what really is going to be the differentiator are those proprietary sources. Is your proprietary data? What do you know about your customers that nobody else knows? What are those AI signals on your proprietary landing pages or you're within your product, like we mentioned, like all of these piece points that are so important. And also when you're thinking about other tools you're using, because like you don't want to sound the same as everyone else. And so many of these tools are kind of that. So you have to know what is powering the tools that you're using.
Yes. Yeah, so important. I could talk about this all day. Messaging ROI. Everyone says good messaging matters.
Yeah.
But founders want numbers. What are 2 specific metrics you look at in a CRM to prove that messaging pivot actually worked?
Yeah. More than anything, it's got to be pipeline. I like to say I'm a recovering sales rep. I started my career in sales, and if you're not bringing in revenue opportunities, something is off. And it's historically been hard to figure that out, right? So if pipeline isn't being created, why is that? Is that because we're not differentiated enough, that there's a competitor we don't know about? Like there's so many reasons as to why that might be. The second number I always look at is movement through the sales funnel. So we can't necessarily, influence like deal size or how quickly things close. Like any product marketer that is kind of measured on sales cycle, I like run, in my opinion, because like you can't, legal and all these other things, it's so hard. But how quickly they move from one stage to another can be influenced by us, right? What is convincing enough to have someone be like, oh my gosh, I need to go into a proof of concept, or I need, to get into the beta program, whatever it might be, to move them through the stage to actually sign the contract. I think we do have control over, and there's better ways to track that, I think, now as well. So there's a lot of tools. I've seen custom GPTs to actually, Eric Holland from the We're Not Marketers guys actually built a messaging adoption framework to pull in transcripts and calls and things like that, to say, is sales adopting this message? Are they actually using it? And then, hey, is it landing? Which you can look back to pipeline and compare the two, right? So there's, Tribal's another tool, though it costs money. So there's things out there that can finally take these call recordings and transcripts and say, hey, are people using this, and how is it working?
Yeah.
So back to, I would say, pipeline generation. Like, are we getting deals into the funnel, and how quickly are we moving people from, hey, I've raised my hand, I'm interested, to actually moving through the stages. Yeah. Doing the damn thing, right? Like
doing the damn thing. Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like we keep going back and forth. I'm going to go on a tangent. It's going to be so great. You're all going to bear with me.
Right.
Because the funnel is interesting, because I'm seeing conflicting answers on LinkedIn. This is like a big battle happening on LinkedIn of like people who are for the funnel and people who are like, could we stop talking about the funnel? It is not a linear process. There's a customer journey here, and we're trying to shove them through this thing that doesn't actually exist.
Sure.
So you seem to be a fan of the funnel. You just mentioned it. What's sort of your quote unquote hot take on this conversation that's blowing up my LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm like, maybe the funnel's not the right word anymore, but stages, right? There's awareness where people are poking around. There's like more serious conversations where they're actually maybe connecting with sales, or maybe they've tried the tool if you're a PLG company, and then where they've actually like either bought it or adopted it, right? There's general stages that people go through. Like I said, I'll be on TikTok scrolling, I'll see something, then I'll see it on Instagram, and I'll, maybe go there. Like there's stages of just thought process that people go through before they actually do the thing, make the purchase, sign the contract, whatever it is. So I do think there's areas within each of those stages that we need to have very clear idea of how we get someone from point A to point B. That being said, God, yeah, the buying process has changed so dramatically. It's wild. I mean, you look at like Comet, right? That can autonomously book a flight or a hotel for you. Personally, I do not want that. I want the control. Right. So like that is, but it, just because there's potential doesn't mean people are doing it, right? So I would say, while the buying process sure has changed, we didn't have autonomous agents that can book a trip. We didn't have, LLMs to search and say, hey, what's the best hotel in Portugal in the stuff? We didn't have some of these ways to do research. Again, even TikTok, some of the social media that we're seeing. So I don't know, channels maybe isn't the right word, but the ways of buying, the way we're getting information is so vastly different. But how we, as a human, I think, make those decisions are still similar. So while maybe, sure, everything's dead these days, email's dead, the funnel's dead, fine. I don't care what you call it, right? But I do think there's very clear stages of consideration, maybe, that gets us from point A to point B. So
yeah, no, I think that's really helpful, and it's a yes and, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like we need to sort of, it feels like in paying attention to the internet, we just need to split these things into two different, they each solve a different problem. So the customer journey and how people go about interacting with your brand is, they're in and out, they're all over the place. Like they come in, they go out, they touch high, they touch low. Like it's not linear, right? But to your point, you have to have the right messaging within that customer journey so that they touch the right thing where they are in
Yeah.
relation to what stage they're in. They might move back up to, they might be like, okay, cool, now I know more about this, but I'm not quite ready because I don't have the budget. Now I know what budget I need to go get. Now they're going to go head back out in awareness, and we're going to keep it top of mind for them until they have the budget, and then it brings them back in, right? So I think, yes, I think it's a
Well, I
yes,
think,
and it's staying
yeah.
fluid, and it's making sure we have messaging along to bring them throughout when they're ready.
And so if you really want a hot take, I think if you think of like the traditional customer journey that probably anyone who's done marketing here has done, right? Something happens, it triggers something else, it is very linear. I think that's totally going to go away. I think that is completely going to get blown up, because I think historically we've been very limited by our technology. Things like segments, if you think of a segment, it's still a group of people. It's not, Carrie and Michelle, it's still a segment. It's a group of people. A/B testing, same thing. You're experimenting a couple different variables because marketers only had time to create maybe 2 or 3 variations, right? Customer journeys, boom, this happens, it triggers this. This happens, it triggers that. We didn't have a way with technology to do things one-on-one, to have different context clues, to like do things in real time. I think AI is going to completely blow that up. We're talking about, contextual layers and all these different ways that AI can actually work for the individual. So say, I don't know, I'm at late night ordering food and my husband's right next to me and we're both on Grubhub and we're scrolling and we're like, what do we want to eat? If it knows through context clues that, I don't know, late night, if I'm ordering, I care more about how quickly it comes. And maybe my husband cares more about how much it costs, right? Those like context clues that AI can get, versus like, okay, you've shopped here before. Here's a list of places you've gotten food before, like very, transactional, or, click equals something happens or something is shown to you. It becomes such a different experience knowing the why behind we do things, not just what we do. So we click, we order, whatever, but why do we do those things? It's the context that's being pulled into the decisions that AI is making on a level that is more one-to-one versus like that linear, I almost want to say static customer journey. We're getting more adaptive, sure, but I think long
I
term,
almost expect it now. No,
yeah.
I totally expect it. So like I go to the grocery store and I use this app every time I go in, so that, because in the UK you get these lovely little handheld things and you can scan all as you go and then just scan as you leave and you're out the door. I freaking love it. But like my iPhone should know that I'm at the store and I'm gonna, like, why isn't that app just not immediately front and center? Why do I have to go dig for it? Right? It's like, I'm with you. I'm actually expecting those things now. I feel like that's no duh, that, and it's funny that it's not yet happening. So I'm with you. I think that's absolutely where it's going and where it has to go. It's
Yeah.
where we all have to be thinking about what are those nuances that people are going to care about in the time frame that they're in, and the decisions they're trying to make within that time frame.
Yeah. And then
Oh man,
yeah.
we're almost out of time. I
Oh my
got
gosh.
so many questions here. All right. Human versus bot. Where is the line? Give me one specific marketing task that you believe should never be touched by AI, even if the tech gets better.
So I'll tell you one that I used to think was true until I experienced it, and then one I think is going to be true. So I used to think customer calls, human to human, like best way to do it. You can read the room, you get like context clues, body language, all these things. And I was like, if I'm going to talk to a customer, what they like and dislike about a product, whatever, it has to be human to human. Now I actually just did a review of a product with an AI person interviewing me and asking me questions. And I almost actually preferred that, because I felt like I could say the negatives and like not hurt someone's feelings, right? I was almost more open and honest, because I'm like, okay, I'm not, I'm not talking to the person that works there or that has built the product and like, saying what I don't love about that. And maybe that's my Midwestern self being, like, I feel bad saying bad things. So it's a very interesting experience on my side, because as a product marketer, I'm like, I would never do that. And now I'm like, oh,
Actually.
and it scales for companies like clothes that are doing this now. I was like, well, I'd never do that. Now they can scale these conversations, get way more information. The honesty from what they've said as well has gone up, and the information that's shared, because it is not a real human. So that's an interesting one, and one that I was like,
Yeah,
all high and mighty about. And then that kind of switch, which was
Ooh,
interesting.
yeah. I don't know if I'd want to talk to about that. Would be I'd have to. I haven't had the experience though yet either, so that's interesting. I'd
Yes,
have to.
that's
I'm
what I
still in.
thought.
I'm still in the camp of it's got to be a person, but
That,
there's nothing worse than a phone tree and you just wanted to talk to a person. So I still think I have to get over that trauma,
oh my,
but
okay.
uh, but
Customer
I
service.
think once I'm there, yeah,
Customer
yeah.
service is one of the most promising areas for AI, but no one has cracked the code yet. To your point, like you'll go tell about all of your problems, it'll try and solve it, and then it can't, and then you get to a person and they have no idea what you just chatted with the bot about. Like
Oh, I know.
we're
How do you
getting
not
there.
know? Yeah.
It's
I called
really,
Chase the other day.
oh
I called
no.
Chase the other day. I had a person. I called a person. It was in my account and it said, "Here's your person." And I
Yes.
called the line and she picked up and I was like, "What universe did I just land in? Like what just happened?" She's like, "I'm your person."
Wow.
I was like, "I didn't know. I've been with Chase for 10 years. I didn't know I had a person."
You're the
I have a
person.
person.
Wow.
Game
Let's see.
changer.
That's my grandfather, probably one of the like most impressive tech people I ever knew. He was the first person that I knew could print like from his phone Bluetooth. And this was, 10, 12 years ago. And I was like, you're the coolest guy ever. He had a direct line to Apple support and he would just call them just to ask what he could do with his phone, like a human. And he would spend the poor Apple people spend hours just chat anyway. So I'm like, that's still so important to have that connection when you're struggling and someone to talk you through what's going on. Because a lot of
Yeah.
these the way the prompt chains of chatbots currently aren't where they need to be for things like
It's
that.
not that.
So
Yeah.
back to
As
bots
it's
doing anything. I
supposed
also think back to like full circle. The is it AI? I'm still really struggling with like AI generated video content. So I know there's really good tools for like avatars, right? It gets your face, it can do your voice, like things like that. Again,
oh, it's a, I can't do
right.
it.
I can't. Who is it? Reach. We did like a B2B ads kind of similar thing of like, is it AI and a critique of these things. And it's cheap. It's much quicker, obviously. But again, you just miss that human connection that like that we would be. Imagine
Yeah.
if this was all AI, right? If this conversation
No,
was
then
AI. Like,
why? But then why? Then AI can just
right.
watch the AI and then we're gonna be end up on a
Very
dead
meta.
internet people if we go down that route. Let's
Yeah,
not say
very
we did.
meta. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I
So
have all right, I'll choose one more.
I know we
Which one
really
should I
could talk
choose?
forever.
Okay, last one. The keep going scale. Once you find a message that converts, how do you use AI to modularize that winning think strategy across 5 different channels without losing the brand voice?
Yeah.
Do
So
you
I
use AI for content? We haven't really talked too
I
much about that.
yeah. Yes and no. Like it's definitely helpful with a first pass. Like so getting whether you use AI not to get that message, again, I would say proceed with caution so you don't sound like everyone else because sometimes the words depending on what you use, all the words could be the same and it isn't actually that different. It is interesting though. There was an AI tool actually I used this morning that would take value props on my website and suggest better ways to say that was like more differentiated. It would actually give it a differentiation kind of score to say
Oh,
if my value prop the way it's written on a website, if that's actually
is it
differentiated. I actually
different?
put in my competitors and the links to their product pages or homepage, and it would like score it, which was very interesting. It
Yeah.
isn't content generation, but it's like critiquing me on my messaging on my
Uh,
website. So it's like
I
kind
ask
of
Gemini to critique my LinkedIn posts all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
I just,
yeah,
yeah, tell me
almost a hidden
scales.
gem. Like I
You
almost feel
literally
like
just wrote this, but tell
yeah.
me.
But you're almost afraid sometimes. You're like, I don't know. I don't want to know what it thinks about it. I don't know. But it is cool in that way. Sorry, we were talking like off on a tangent. We were talking about messaging, how you
Yeah.
scale it.
Yep.
Um,
So, yep. So how you scale
so
it. Mhm.
I will actually put once I know my messaging doc is good and solid, like I feel really good about it. I will put it into tools like Gamma is a great example for PowerPoint slides. I'll put it, this is actually a gut check more than creating the content, but I'll put the messaging doc into Gamma and say, hey, build me a 5 to 7 slide pitch deck and I'll see what it'll pull. Because if it pulls the right stuff or it feels really good, one, I know the messaging doc is strong. And two, I could use some of that to start building a new pitch deck. Again, if it's a new concept, a new product, whatever. But getting that foundation of that messaging positioning right, it really helps scale it anywhere. You can build thought leadership blog posts. You can put it into you could create avatar videos. I've done those podcast style sales enablement things where it's like sharing, Q&A, AI generated Q&A that's like podcast style, but for internal enablement, not for like external content. So yeah, I think once you have that foundation right, the possibilities are almost kind of endless into how you can use it with AI tools that are a lot faster now. Always, always, always review it, always have your hands in the mix. I've seen some more junior PMMs that are just like, put it in Claude, whatever. Here's a blog post. They don't even look at it. And they're like, my blog post is ready. I'm like, oh, like, maybe just take a look. But again, there's just so many cool ways to use it.
Oh my gosh. Your plethora of AI information. I could sit here all day. and we've covered so much ground. For the founders and the smaller leaner marketing teams that are listening.
Yeah.
Out of everything we've talked about, maybe we didn't cover it, maybe we did, but what's the one thing, the one actionable step that they should take today to get their marketing, positioning and messaging, any of it, all of it, back on track?
Yeah. I think, give AI, if you're like a newbie and you're not sure where to start, like give it a try. Like you said, have it critique your messaging, get customer input, and then take it to the founder. So it's a team effort. You're not just going to like set it and forget it with AI. As someone who was a solo and founding product marketer at a 30-person company, like it is amazing what AI can do to help scale things. But at the end of the day, to get back on track, you need that validation from real people that are buying your products, that are actually using it, before you do anything else. So like that validation is hugely, hugely important.
Preach, girl. Yes. I'm going to send this conversation to one of my clients. It's going to be great. Oh my gosh. Michele, where can people find you? They want to learn more. They want to stay in touch. They want to follow you. Where are you at?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I think there's only one Michele Nieberding, but yeah, if not, I'm posting all the time. So yeah, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn.
Click on her picture here and go follow her. Make that happen. She's also got, I'm gonna blow your cover,
God.
Michele, but she also does have an Instagram of beautiful pictures of a cake she used to make, and they are awesome. So go find her over there. Michele, I'm so grateful. So grateful. Thank you so much. Seriously, could talk to you all day. All day.
This is awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to have you back. Don't you worry, folks. She's going to be back. If you're feeling stuck in that growth valley, remember, stop chasing the shiny objects. Think, ready, activate, calibrate, and then, and only then, keep going. This episode is brought to you by MKG Marketing, and we'll see you next week. Auf Wiedersehen.